Oh, hello. My name is James Yasko, Director of Education at the Hermitage, home of President Andrew Jackson. One of the things that people think of whenever they think of Andrew Jackson is the scandal involving his marriage to his wife, Rachel. So let's talk about that for a second. Andrew Jackson moved to Nashville in 1788 as a 21-year-old man practicing law. He had his license to practice law in North Carolina, which Nashville was a part of in October of 1788, not having achieved statehood until 1796. Here in Nashville, he stayed with the widow of one of Tennessee's founders, Mrs. John Donaldson. Living with her as well was her daughter, Rachel. Except, more specifically, her name was Rachel Donaldson Robard. She was already married to a man named Lewis Robard, who seems to have been a fairly jealous guy. He did not like the way that Rachel and Andrew looked at each other or talked to each other. Apparently, Rachel had a pretty decent sense of humor and was pretty fun to be around. So Rachel and Andrew got along very well. Seeing as how Lewis Robard did not appreciate the way that Rachel and Andrew interacted, he threatened to get a divorce as he thought they were having an affair. Now, getting a divorce was a lot more difficult in the early 1790s than it is today. At the time, you had to petition the state legislature in the state where you got married. Where Rachel and Lewis Robard got married would be Kentucky, except at that time it was still a part of Virginia. So Robards had to petition the state legislature in Richmond, Virginia for a divorce. At some point, Rachel decided to go to Natchez, Mississippi and stay at the Springfield plantation. Owners were friends of the Donaldson family. Jackson somehow ended up in Natchez as well, where they allegedly got married at the plantation. When they came back to Nashville in 1791, they lived as Andrew and Rachel Jackson, and everyone had assumed that the divorce had gone through and was finalized and everything was fine. They found out in 1794 that Robards had only just then gotten that divorce, meaning that for a period of about 3 years, Rachel was married to two men at the same time. This caused quite an uproar, and would cause more of an uproar later on during Jackson's presidential campaign of 1828. We'll get into the particulars of that campaign in another video, but it is important to note that John Eaton, who would go on to become Jackson's Secretary of War and would have lady problems of his own, he mentioned later on that in a defense of Andrew Jackson, that had the divorce and marriage, because Andrew and Rachel did get officially married in Nashville in 1794, the details are a little blurry, probably intentionally so. But Eaton made a decent point that if the general public felt as though the divorce and marriage was as scandalous as the public was then being led to believe, there's no way Jackson would have been elected or chosen as a member of the Constitutional Convention for the state of Tennessee in 1796, and he certainly would not have been elected Major General of the Tennessee State Militia. More on that another time.